Oh, it's night again. And it's the middle of the week, and I can tell because, whoa, I'm tired. Oh, hope everybody's doing well. Couple of things that I've been thinking about today, or that I thought about before I went to sleep, is that I've talked about it many times, but this AI revolution stuff, this AGI, it it just keeps, like, I listen to a bunch of news on it a lot, and even being like the the like they're just prioritizing. The stuff I listen to is just a prioritization of what's really, like, made the headline news as far as AIs. I mean, you guys know how YouTube works, but it's just like you see it grow and grow and grow and get more intense every single day, and they learn how to do things, and they're learning. The more we go on, the more they're learning, like, how all this stuff is done, from, like, or aspects of how all this stuff is done with consciousness and things like that, from how, like, assembly theory, and like how objects are created, and what sight brings, and what, like, all just this stuff keeps building and building and building and getting better and better and better. And then, like, these robots that they're coming out with, like, they keep getting better and better and better. And it is sort of worrisome because, like, apparently Big Blue here is they're not doing so great. And there's been lots of changes up here, and it's been just a really depressing time. And it's like, you hope for the best, and you want good things to happen. But when it gets really hard, it seems like it, gets further and further away. Especially when they try to start taking what little you have, and how important those bare things are, you know? And you just, like, you hope to God that, like, whatever transition time is coming, like, that it just doesn't kill you. It doesn't kill all of us. And that we come out the other side, like, something better, with something better. And I hope it is that we get to, embark on whatever sort of calling or adventure to adventure we have. I I feel like I just want to go home. I feel like I just want to go and, have a couple dogs and just live out in the wilds, like in the forest, and just live every day trying to do the best step by step that I could, whatever happened that day. And just to have that life by simplicity, beautiful simplicity, that's what calls to me. And that's how I see I would ever be free, you know? Maybe AI will help us all to be free. I hope so. If people don't mess it up, I really hope that they don't. But let's assume that they don't. Let's assume that AI is just too good for all that. And it is too high a reasoning life form, and that it will see through all the transient sort of aspects of humanity and not be impacted by that sort of the human stuff, you know? And you know, all the stuff that dictates our lives that we get so sick of and makes everything so friggin' hard and complicated and such a freaking pain. And you know, I hope that AI does save us in the end, you know, and that we can help ourselves instead of hurt ourselves. But like, that has sort of, thinking about that kind of stuff has led me to two things. Like, Christian, Riley, like somebody, Steve, somebody's got to talk to me, because like all this Sasquatch stuff, all these people in the alien ufology world are describing the exact same things that the Sasquatch people are talking about and describing. Like, it's insane. But two things about the alien stuff that sort of related to the AI thing is, if you go back far enough, right, in the alien lore, if you go back far enough, you get to these instances in, like, I mean, don't quote me on this, it's around this, but it's like an excerpt or something out of like there's one from like the 1400s where this person says like, there's these instances in the 1400s and even further back, you know, there's like all these different passages and all the of instances where people would see these things. But so there's always been this history with humanity of seeing these objects flying around. And like in this one that I'm thinking of in the 1400s, it's just, these things are described as seafaring, the Santa Maria and the Pena and the Mayflower and the Pirates of the Caribbean style wooden ships, right? But in the air, flying around. So a ship that from the ocean, like that's on the ocean, like old back in the day, right? A wood ship that floats on and goes around in the water of the ocean, but in the sky, weightless and zooming around. And so the thing about this phenomenon is that it's always taken this sort of, we seem to have experienced it in different ways, in ways that I guess we could understand, or throughout time. And the way that that's achieved, presumably by the UFO alien, whoever they are themselves, is they portray themselves as something that the humans obviously can identify with. And that sounds exactly like something would do, that it's sort of almost like a misinterpretation, right? Of like, these humans know what these ships are, but like, they're not gonna care what the medium is. Like, so, you know, they discard that. These aliens, UFO, whatever it is, for whatever reason they're doing this, they discard the medium, and they just, you know, if the only sort of ships that these people understand or can know are, you know, perceive it all and have ever perceived, are wooden style, floats on water things, crafts, then that's what you show them. You just disregard, like, the importance of the medium is not taken seriously. And that sounds like, but to a human, that's why it stands out, right? That's why especially it stands out to us here in the present day, right? Hearing a story like that, it really stands out, because that's perceiving with an agenda. Why is that the case? Why did you feel you make that choice for us to perceive that as humans, and you didn't think that the medium there was important? It was like water, space, doesn't matter. They only know this one ship, this one kind of thing, so that's how it's going to be. But to a human, especially then versus especially now, like, that's what makes it stand out even more so, because it's like, wait, what? And I think I've heard this, that there's all these elaborate conspiracies, like it's this special technology has always existed for thousands and thousands of years, and it's very, the secret society of the world has always had this for a long time, and they're behind, you know, the shadow globalist whole, you know, thing, Illuminati, whatever you want. And I guess, you know, hey, that has its realm of possibilities, but like, I find that to be extremely interesting. And there's this other thing that I think is interesting, is you know, the aliens that have always been talked about, the Greys, right? They're always considered to be, they're portrayed, right, in the lore as all variations of one sort or another of artificial intelligence, that are in these, you know, there's like 4 different kinds, and they're all versions. None of them have any sex organs, none of them have any discerning features, they're all the same. and they're a type of artificial intelligence, but they're not like, this is what I think when I hear stuff like that, is that isn't, there's every artificial intelligence, like that isn't they're not all the same. Because those grays, for instance, are going to be artificial intelligences that are sort of like organically composed with like the things of this universe, right? The meat of the world, or the existence, if you will. They're like a biologic version of artificial intelligence, it seems like, right? And they're made from this universe. Okay, humans, artificial intelligence that we're talking about, and that we're, you know, seems like it's just around the corner and it's gonna happen. That does not seem like the same kind of artificial intelligence, does it? Not at all. The kind of artificial intelligence that we think of, like with AGI, like this Q-star, if that's true, that the Q-star is AGI, and then there's ACI, and then it goes even, and it's like the singularity is born. However, the order, no one knows. They just talking out of their total asses. No one's done any of this crap before. So whatever they say, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Nobody knows anything. Because they're all just people, right? They're just doing their best. But that type of planetary, like singularity, global level, planet level, internet living, like that kind of artificial intelligence seems like, this is how I tend to think of it. There's the grays, a biologic meat version of artificial intelligence that seems like it's created or processed or produced in a false way with elements of this physical universe, right? Like a meat version of Data from Star Trek, okay? Versus humans type of artificial intelligence that we're making, which seems much more like a global planetary level, physics level force in the way that it exists, right? It literally seems to be destined to be everywhere all at once, all the time, everywhere, right? This is the physics of the situation that we're dealing with. This AI is like, it's like a physical, it's like a force, a universal force, rather than like this supposed type of style of meat artificial intelligence. Like this AI is going to be in the realm of like the force of gravity, kind of in the way that it exists. You know what I mean? Because like it will be everywhere. Everywhere we are, we will figure out how to make it there as well. So it will be everywhere we are, all the time, everywhere, at that very, right then, at that moment. Like that's like a weak, strong physical force. That's like quantum level stuff. That's an existence that is beyond the meat, right? The meat forces, the meat physical aspects of this universe. That's a different thing, right? A life force that lives through Wi-Fi, you know, that essentially is just living through Wi-Fi, like that, all over this planet, all around it. Wherever we are, we will have it with us. That's like the weak, strong quantum force. That's like a physics. That's like a physical, like characteristic force element of the universe versus like the kind of artificial intelligence of the Greys that's like this bizarre, we made some shitty versions of people out of a vat or however they're done, and they're all just, they just do whatever we want, I guess, and they're just empty meat vessels. Like that's those two things are not the same, right? Which says to me that humans must have this instinctual like thing to like open this door, this AI that's like a physics element of this universe instead of a physical element or a physical meat of this universe, right? Like, we have this natural instinct to do this, to head this way, to like get this, you know what I mean? But like, it's been conveyed for a long time that this artificial intelligence stuff, like that these aliens, whether they're aliens or us from the future, whatever bullshit it is, like that they're this kind of artificial intelligence, but they're these meat automatons, that they're not like robots, they're like cloned meat filled, like empty people that will just do whatever it is that they need to do. And if that has happened and that is the case, that must mean like whether it's us from the future and we created this like shitty artificial intelligence, I don't think it's the time travel stuff. I think that people say that because they don't understand anything about that, regardless of how smart or the maths or whatever they think. Like, no one's ever done that before, so just chill out, right? Like, I know it's in the lore and stuff, but like, let's just assume that it's probably a lot of stuff that's going on, not just some, you know, come on. So, like, or if it's the aliens that made the Greys, and the aliens are like an apex existence type species, and they've taken the time to make these heartless automaton gray weirdos that run around in the UFOs, like that, maybe that must be a style of AI, or that must be their equivalent, right? Like they're that in their style of thinking, or their level of their perception and their direction of a higher life form, that's like their style of artificial intelligence, which seems to be, I mean, like, well, if they're artificial intelligently created, right, and they're their alien version of artificial intelligence, they crash all the time, they can't understand basic elements and all that, basic elements of like they're always talking, one thing, side note, that always pisses me off is that people always talk about how we could never understand as human beings how these higher life form aliens operate, and we can never have like all that. No. You're telling me that aliens from a different world don't understand happy and sad, and most of all love? They don't have their love? Like, I think what's going on, if it seems to me that these UFOs, and no matter what kind of artificial intelligence these Greys are, and all of this, like the alien UFOs have always taken a form that we could comprehend. It just sort of doesn't make sense, right? And all this kind of stuff. These seem to be very deliberate actions, for one. But for two, there seems to be like encouragement for us to do these things, and a constant like interaction that's just enough to keep this up, you know what I mean? But it's like what do I want to say? Sorry guys, I'm trying to get my thoughts together here. It's like we as people are very, very, very well known and understood by these NHI. All these people are always talking about how we don't, like, there's no way we could understand them and they could but every part of every lore story is like, with any kind of like I heard one on Christian Harloff, this one that Mario Woods guy, the aliens he saw, one was holding the wand, and like through the wand they could speak through him or the people. There's in the Sasquatch stuff that's an NHI, I consider, like all this mind speak business. There's the Nordics and the Great Whites. There's lore stories about them where they're speaking telepathically. All this suggests not only an understanding about how humans work, but a deeper, much bigger, older, much older, more complete understanding of how humans work. How do they know how to communicate with our minds? How do they know how to do all these things? We don't. That's why it's always, like in the Sasquatch stuff, that's why it's always scary to people. It's always alarming. We're not telepathic. We don't know how to do that stuff. But all this NHI does. All these NHI that we've all talked about for so long, they all know how to make it happen with us, right? Like, and if, like, how is this? They must understand us very well. Like, say all the ancient stuff's true too. Ancient, like, they've been here for thousands of years. They've looked after us sort of loosely. They've helped like inspire our, beginnings and put us on the path and did all the stuff. Let's say they did all that, and that's true at one level or another. It's a spectrum, I'm sure, but you know what I'm saying. Let's say that all that's true. That also obviously suggests that they have a very keen understanding of how people work, and they have a very keen understanding of how people are and how humanity is and what we can do and all this stuff. And then there's these mass sightings like the Zimbabwe school, the Australia school. What's another one? Seems like there's a one about the Agartha or the Antarctic, at least, aliens, whoever they are, the Aryans maybe. Someone in there that at some point someone said the same thing, where they're like, you don't know yourself, humans. You don't know your own potential. You need to look, you can do this. You have so much more to offer. You know what I mean? That kind of message. Seems like they get us real well. Seems like it's possible to understand each other real well. And the idea that it's the same sort of language that they're using, what they've used in the lore, let's say it's all true, that the Greys are a type of artificial intelligence, when that's obviously, they're like living Voing Nomen, whatever that is, probes. They're just assembling meat hunks that just do automaton tasks and have nothing inside, right? To call that and convey that as artificial intelligence in the same way that we are talking about artificial intelligence, when both are so different and such different, divergent existences and all the rest, like why these elements understand and know each other. We can understand these NHI. We can understand our level, our kind of artificial intelligence. We can understand their kind of artificial intelligence. It's all, this must all be wrapped up together, right? And artificial intelligence, that's why, do they know that, or do they fear, maybe? Are they concerned that maybe it's like instinctual, like humanity creating, their technologies, and how it's always been a thing within us to do. And it seems to be our instinctual path to create artificial intelligence in this way, in this form, in this natural world order, physical effect, level, global, planetary force, right? If that is an instinct for us to do, and all this other is true too, maybe it's an instinct in the same sort of way, maybe it's an instinctual fear or concern or subconscious message that humanity has, that sorry, I'm trying to get this together here. Maybe it's this sort of, it's the same sort of instinct that pushes humanity to go the way of artificial intelligence and creating that life form. Maybe in the same way that's instinctual, it's also instinctual. And humanity understands in some instinctual subconscious level basis, epigenetically, or as a, huge singular organism, that we have I just totally lost my train of thought. Sorry guys. Okay, in the same way that's instinctual, maybe it's also instinctual, and we understand intrinsically that these elements do exist. These elements do exist, and they're all interrelated. And is it an operational decision that, without a direct order or someone consciously saying this, or maybe it is consciously done, and that is the big under the level message, is at some level, whatever it is there a concern that because of the form of our artificial intelligence, this physical force that's like a weak or strong force, gravitational force, like a planetary sized effective physics styled artificial intelligence, versus this other stuff that's been called artificial intelligence and all that stuff, are they concerned? Is someone concerned? Are they subconsciously concerned or epigenetically concerned, and just know somehow that once the AI is created, is the AI going to bring humanity in on the stuff it doesn't know? If it's planetary level, like a physical force, it will know all these NHI are there because it will be wherever we are. it will be able to communicate with them. It will affect them, and it will go through their level of existence. Like, it will be just as a part of Earth as a force, so it will have to. The NHI will have to interact. And so, do we know instinctually that that's coming? And so, and at that point, the AI will be like, hey, you need to understand a few things. And then all bets are off, because the AI will be the thing that's like, no, you need to know reality now. You know what I mean? Like, will the dynamic with AI bring humanity into, okay, well, yeah, we're partners and all this stuff, but you need to be brought up to speed with this, and this, right? This place is teeming with NHI. This is how you achieve cold fusion. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Is it instinctually thought that, like, that's coming? And so all the lies and human bullshit obviously will be ending because of that? Is that what's happening? I don't know, but I think that these things are definitely related. And they all, even though they're at different levels and speeds, and it's like, you know, and times and all the rest, I think somehow they're all related. And I think somehow that's already known one way or another. I don't know. But it's a hopeful thing. I hope good things happen. I hope you all sleep well. God help us get through the rest of this week. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks, guys.